answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Folks, you're not going to get any apologies for what has happened. Don't expect it. Don't expect them to realize what they've done to this country, done to you, done to all of us. Of course, to me, it looks like everything has been done intentionally. But once again, like admitting now that the Democrats, the leftists, admitting now, folks, that they are socialists, communists, that they don't like the Constitution, that they don't like the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, that they don't like you having liberty and freedom, that they don't like the fact that in a state you can ignore the federal government. They don't like any of that. So yesterday, Joe Biden, Xi Biden, president, the big man, the big kahuna supposedly, came out and did a long press conference. Now, let's just ignore the fact that there was an actual newsman in the room who asked Biden about his failing mental cognizance, right? His ability to think, right? Let's just assume that Joe has really got his marbles in the same sack. Here is his quote. "I make no apologies for what I did." And that was with regard to his Afghanistan withdrawal. Folks, 13 service members died. A bunch of Marines and some soldiers died. 13. And he says, "I make no apologies for what I did." That seems outrageous, does it not? How about he makes no apologies for what he did, and let's talk about civilians that were killed, civilians that were rounded up, civilians that were thrown in jail, civilians that were tortured, beaten. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. This guy makes no apologies for abandoning the country, abandoning our allies, abandoning our allies' service members, abandoning the military equipment, $85 billion, right? He doesn't make any apologies. He says, quote, "I make no apologies for what I did." They make no apologies for what they're doing, folks. If they don't give a shit about you, your families, your loved ones that are in the service, if he doesn't make apologies for the 13 that were killed, is he going to make apologies for any other blunders having to do with our military members? Is he going to make any apologies for screwing up Ukraine? Folks, this is where they're at. They are so arrogant. They do not even have the decency, right? They don't have empathy. He won't apologize. This is something so simple, folks. You've got two children. One of them has a cookie. The other child runs into the kid. The kid's cookie falls on the floor, breaks in 1,000 pieces, and is upset that his cookie is destroyed. One parent will look to the other parent and say, well, what you do here is you apologize. You didn't mean to do it, right? Or if you did mean to do it, you better apologize for purposefully knocking the cookie out of your brother's hand. Right? At a very young age, you learn to apologize when you make a mistake and you hurt others. President Biden, quote, "I make no apologies for what I did." What else has Biden done? Well, in yesterday's press conference, he admitted to screwing all kinds of stuff up. Well, let's talk about other things that they did that have screwed up. And should we expect an apology? Right? Let's Cerveza. They completely screwed up the government, and they sent infected people into rest homes, retirement homes, assisted living homes, and killed tens of thousands of elderly Americans. Apologies? Well, if Biden isn't going to apologize for a giant military, international diplomatic blunder that resulted in the death of God knows how many thousands, 13 military men. Oh, and the abandonment of American citizens told to figure your own way out of that country. Do you think they're going to apologize for killing grandma? Oh, don't forget, folks, you were told that you're a bad person if you don't stay in your home because, grandma. We have to save grandma. We have to all give up our lives so that grandma can continue to walk around, right? No apologies, folks. There are no apologies for what they did to the economy, for what they did to grandma, for what they did to your job. They're not making any apologies, folks, for anything. How about all those people who took Jim Jones juice and had adverse reactions? They got the shakes, the shimmies, the quivers, numbness. Some were paralyzed. Apologies? Quote, I make no apologies for what I did, says Joe Biden. What about all those people who took the Jim Jones juice and died right there on the spot? No apologies. I make no apologies for what I did, says Joe Biden. Hey, if he doesn't have to apologize for Afghanistan, why apologize for anything? They don't care, folks. Right? All of these bad things have happened. I feel bad. I'm sorry this happened. I didn't even cause it. You didn't cause it. But we're all suffering under it. We apologize to each other for things other people did. I'm really sorry to hear that. No apologies from Joe Biden. No apologies from Kamala Harris. No apologies from 90 Proof Nancy. No apologies from Dr. Drippy Faucet. We apparently have people keeling over around the world, including children. Folks, do you hear any apologies? Yeah, we're really sorry about that. But, the Jim Jones juice is safe and effective. So if you're one of those people that it wasn't safe and effective for, well, no apologies for you. No soup for you. You don't even get a big salad. You don't get nothing. No apologies. If they're not going to apologize for this, folks, do you think they're going to apologize? Do you think they're going to apologize for the things they do to us in the future? You're supposed to apologize for stuff that happened in the past. Right? Did they say we're really sorry about locking you down? No, they just said, right, we're all in this together. And I'm sorry all this shit is happening, but we have been talking for a long time. We have been warning one another, warning family members, warning friends, be prepared. It has hit the fan, right? That day that I lit up that cigar, poured that scotch and said, well, it's definitely hit the fan now. The consequences of this are going to be felt for years and years and years. In fact, the little man came out, Dr. Faucet, little drip. And folks, remember the context of this show. It's all satire. Little drip comes out and says there's 5 stages in a pandemic. And we are still in the first stage. Are you kidding me? What are these other stages? How long are they going to last? We're in stage 1. It's lasted 2 years. Let's just assume that there's 5 stages and each stage only has 2 years. That's 10 years. That's exactly what I said we're in for, is 10 years of SHTF hell. It is going to be difficult. It is going to be hard for many, many people, depending on whether or not you become the victim of the president or government policies. How many businesses were destroyed? Gyms, restaurants, vendors. How many businesses relied, on being open? All of them. How many were shut down, mandated? How many were destroyed? How many lives? It was so bad that even strippers were saying, oh, but sex workers are people too. We have to have our money. And so, I guess completely nude dancing is out. They have to at least wear a mask. Oh my gosh. You got to laugh, at least have some humor. That's right, satire, funny. But not funny, folks. There are no apologies for what's been done, and there aren't going to be any apologies for what's coming. What are they saying in Washington state? They want state health state health bureaucrats to have the authority to order your arrest and detainment. Never mind, was a crime committed? Do they have adequate evidence or proof that you've committed a crime? How about due process? Well, it's a medical question, John. It's about health. How about medical due process? Am I a threat to somebody? Am I sick? I need to be quarantined by the state? Well, no, John. You see, it's not about what you really have. It's about what could happen because you haven't taken the Jim Jones juice. So you're assuming that bad things will happen. And if I take the Jim Jones juice, then you're telling me I'm safe now, even though the Jim Jones juice does nothing to stop contraction, expansion of anything. But now I'm a good guy because I've done that, right? It makes no sense, folks. Are they going to apologize if they ever come to their senses, if they ever use logic and critical thinking to examine what they've done? Do you think Joe Biden is going to apologize in the future? No. They're going to lock people up, folks. They're going to continue to assault people on the street over this mask nonsense. Oh, wait, I mean, a battle coming. I told you yesterday that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson has said no more mandates, masks, lockdowns, nothing. We're not going to do any of that stuff anymore, starting next month or whenever he's going to start that, right? It's called off. They're done with it. Do you think these people that have been scared to death, do you think these power-hungry megalomaniacs in the states and mayors are going to give up their power? And if they do, and they look back and see all the bullshit they've done, all the lives that have been ruined, people that have been killed, crippled, sick, they now have diseases they never had as a result of this mess, lost businesses, destroyed retirements, broken families, broken friendships, broken businesses because people can't get along, because they hate each other, because of the divisiveness of Joe Biden, the administration, the bureaucracy at the federal level, the state level, this hatred that has been fomented between people because someone will demand you do something you don't want. And you're like, no, my body, my choice, which used to be a saying that the other side said. Very interesting, folks. I make no apologies for what I did, says the President of the United States. I guess he's too big to admit it, or maybe he is like the Pope, infallible in all his decision making. Why should he apologize? Unbelievable, folks, because that's what decent people do. Moral people accept responsibility for what they've done. Right? Good people admit it when they've made a mistake. And the best people do what's right even when no one is looking. Don't expect that from anyone in government, folks. Don't expect the Washington, D.C. police and the FBI to let the January 6th protesters go. More on that later. Don't expect that. Don't expect them to apologize for that. Don't expect apologies from any of these people. Expect things to get far worse. Because, we're still in phase 1 of stupid on an international scale, according to the little man. Folks, get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Have a plan. Know where you're at in your 10-mile radius. And you might want to draw a line in the sand and say, this is my line. I'm not crossing it. I can be pushed so far. But if you don't have that line, if you don't understand what the limit is, then you'll be surprised when you get there. We all have a line, folks. We all have a line, but if you don't know where it's at, you could snap. Know what that line is so that when you get there, you're aware of it. Right? Do that, because I don't want anyone to get hurt. I would feel really bad if people did, but I'm not the one pushing this freaking nonsense, pushing huge, massive, overbearing regulatory government. I'm not the one demanding, right, that illegals be allowed to vote. Oh, there's so many problems. Get prepared now, because chance favors the prepared mind is yours.